Singapore is richer than its ex-colonizer, Great Britain. So when I hear people telling me today, oh, Africa is poor because of colonization, I'm like, please, let's move on from that. Did it have maybe a tiny percentage in where we are today? Maybe, and I don't know. But I know it's not the cause. Many, countless countries have been colonized before. And by the way, colonizing one another is humanity's history. It just happened that maybe Africa has been one of the last, colonized region in the world. So in our psyche, it is there and it acts like nothing happened before to others. But flash news, it's the history of the world. We've been capturing each other back and forth.
What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today I got another topic for you, and I don't know if I'm making this one for you or if I'm making it for myself. It's something that I found interesting, and I just wanted to share it with you. My son he told me that he has this kid in his class who identifies as a furry. Now, I've never heard the word being used in relation to a person before, so I Googled it, and
I might have to do some weird explaining to my neighbors why there are giant dog tracks. Yeah, they're gonna know we're furries pretty soon. Beans.
How much did a costume cost?
This was $3,000.
$3,000?
Yeah.
You don't look like you make that much money.
I took a gap year, so I worked full-time for a year.
Oh, that's awesome.
A lot of money, yeah.
So what about yours?
I actually commissioned a friend to make the base of this for like $40, and I made the rest myself.
it turns out that, some people want to be, they feel like animals. They think they're animals, and they dress up in these costumes, and they walk around claiming to be furries. And I thought it was interesting when my when my son said it to me, and it was a discussion that we both had about that identity that this little kid basically embodied. The origin of the word identity means repeatedly or the same. So when you think about the word identity, what comes to mind is that, say, for example, my skin color, right? I look the same or closely the same as the people who live in Africa and in other countries where there are black people. So I am identified as a black man, as a black person. And, that becomes something that I embody. And, that is just a form of the way that we identify as a group, as a collective group, as a peoples, as a nation, and as a race, how you can be identified. So why am I telling you this? Hold on, I'm going to get to my point. If you ask your friends, what would your identity be from their eyes? What do you think they'll say? That might be an interesting conversation for you to have. Just talk to your friends and say, how do you identify me as? What things do I do that you identify me as? So the other part of the origin of the word identity stresses that it's something that you do repeatedly. Now, if you do something repeatedly, it becomes you. It describes who you are. So if I'm smoking, I smoke one time. That doesn't make me a smoker. If I do it repeatedly, now that becomes an identity that I embody, right? So I think as a people, sometimes we have this mentality of victim mentality, right? Because we think that the world isn't going to accept us. And sometimes that's true. The world doesn't accept you. I'm talking about black people or people of other races, right? Sometimes the world doesn't accept you. Sometimes the world looks down on you. They They make life harder for you because you have to go through so many steps, jump through so many hoops in order for you to attain the same things that most other races would get instantly. But for you, for us, we have to do a lot to be able to get the same things. And sometimes that becomes a negative thing that really breaks us down. It shuts down our spirit, discourages us to the point that we don't really want to take any steps to further our endeavors in lives because we're just scared. We panic at the thought of trying to do anything that is different from what we've been doing, from trying to do things that are challenging to us but more beneficial. We tend to shut ourselves down because we're scared of how the world might see us, how the world is going to accept us. They will not accept us, so that we just have to let it go, you know, stay in this victim mentality. And I think that's my personal opinion. I think that is detrimental to us. The longer we stay in this victim mentality, the longer everything passes you by, and the harder it is for you to actually dig yourself out of the hole that we were born into. Right? And going back to perceptions, the way you perceive things has a bigger impact on your reality. So I don't think it matters so much what people think, what people see, what people do, what people expect from you. The biggest impact in your life will have to be, what do you expect from yourself? How much are you willing to push to get the things that you aspire to get? Are you going to let these fears, this discouraging view from the world, from the other races, shut you down? Or are you going to look for something better to be identified by? Are you going to create your own identity that takes you from where you are right now to a different place? As long as we try to conform to the way that the world sees us because we're scared, because we're fearful, the longer our pain goes on, the longer it is that we can heal, right? Because racism is traumatic. It shuts you down. It makes you have panic attacks, makes you get depressed, and it's something that prevents you from actually attaining goals and targets that we set for ourselves. So it's important that you create a better identity for yourself, instead of thinking that the things that white people did to us long time ago, that is where we are. We're not there. We're so far from there. I get so worried when I hear people that were born in Western countries. I'm talking about black people. I meet black people that were born in Western countries. They talk like colonization just happened yesterday. They talk like they're still being prevented from achieving things. I get worried. These people have never been to Africa. They've never gone and spoken to the natives about their experiences. They've never been to the sites where our ancestors were chained, beaten, locked up, and transported to other lands. But for some reason, they embody this victim mentality of, well, woe is me. And, we've been to hell and we're going to stay there. You don't have to stay there. You can get yourself out of it because no one else is going to get you out of it. Change your identity. to something that you can be proud of. If you do something repeatedly, it starts to define who you are. So you got to ask yourself the question, what do I want people to identify me as? You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm out of here. If you got any comments, questions, concerns, leave it in the comment section. I will respond. I do try to respond to most of my comments. But yeah, that's all I got for you tonight. It is tonight. This is like 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm recording this. But anyways, yeah, let me know what your thoughts are and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.